just like to point out one thing in doing stuff like this. There's nothing more important than safety. And if you aren't going to be safe, then just don't do it. And whenever you're welding, you want to use the proper welding mask and using a blowtorch and stuff. You always want to have a fire extinguisher within reach and all of the safety stuff. And if you don't have the proper safety supplies, just don't do it. And it's that simple. And something to point out when you're watching this video, it took me about 7 hours to complete this project. And so keep in mind that it's going to take a lot longer than it actually shows in the video, just from editing and stuff like that. And I'm sorry I didn't get a lot of stuff in the video, but my camera card actually got full and I didn't have a spare one with me, so that was a challenge. Anyways, I hope this video will help you, and thanks for watching. Okay, so here we are with my 1/2-inch square tubing that I picked up for this little project. And we're going to do a 4-inch lift on that seat, just due to the fact that the ceiling and all sorts of different reasons, but we decided on 4-inch. So what I need is 3.5 inches because of those 1/4-inch plates that I already got. And I'm going to go grab a Sharpie. I'm back. Sorry about the background noise, but I grabbed the Sharpie. I need 3.5. But this principle applies to you. Keep in mind that your flat plates are going to take up some of the space. So there's that one. And I'm using a hacksaw for this little bit here because it's the best option. Just a good hacksaw with a good hacksaw blade on it. And a vise, make things simple. But you don't have to have a vise. You could just use a regular old C-clamp. It's that simple, even with a hacksaw. You don't have to do too much grinding on these. You probably don't even need to grind them, but I was just going to make them at an angle so the weld would have something to stick into when it gets welded on. So my camera got full and it stopped recording, but anyways, what I was saying earlier, I don't know if I got it on video, that the wire wheels on the bench grinders. Sorry about the background noise. They it works really well for getting rid of those annoying tags, the barcode tags that they put on metal. So, anyways, now to the next step. Okay, so now we have all of our pieces that we need. So, just to give you an idea, this is gonna go like this. I don't know if you figured that out or not yet. And then these two pieces are gonna go on here like that. And, I think I need some more of these guys right here. I'm going to cut some more. now that I realize I needed more. So you're probably going to need about 8 of these if you're doing it the exact same way that I'm doing it here. So now we are off to some more cutting. Now what we're going to do is go measure where the bolt holes are, so we make sure that we don't put these in the way of the bolt holes. Okay, much easier way of doing this. Just take your flat piece of steel that you've cut and a Sharpie and line it all up and then trace out your holes right in there. There you go. Okay, now what you're going to want to do, or what I'm doing, you might not want to do this, I don't know, but is I got the biggest hammer that we own. I'm going to get a punch. You're going to want to hit it as hard as you can. And the holes are oval. So I've decided to use the torch because that was taking way too long trying to drill out those holes. And they're oval anyways. So. But what you want to do is get a small pilot hole even with the torch. So here's the pieces after I used the torch on them. Way faster than drilling, although it did take about 20 minutes. So I didn't time it. Sorry about the background noise. But now I'm going to grind off all of the extra slag and stuff. So it's another process. You know, I'm probably not doing this the easiest way. There's probably easier ways, but I know that mine's going to last for the lifetime of the truck. So here they are after they're all done. You know, they aren't the prettiest things in the world, but they'll get the job done. You know, like I said, that was the first time I had ever used a torch in my life, so I think I did pretty good. So I hit you guys again, I'm sorry about that. What I did was I got my Sharpie out and then I put traced where I wanted the piece at, and now I'm just gonna tack it on, and then after I get it all welded together, because it's gonna warp a little bit, I'm going to put nice strong welds on there to hold it together. And here's the finished product on what you should have. I mean, this was the first time I had ever welded anything, so it didn't really come out very good, but you know what? Maybe grind off some of the big welds and paint it, and it will work just fine. So that's what it should look like when you're done welding if you're following my instructions. Alright, so now I have all of these pieces welded nicely and terribly. It's the first time I ever welded, like I said before, and now I'm going to go over to the grinder and grind off pieces like this. I don't know if you can see that on video or not. Here's a good example. See how that's sticking way out? I'm going to go grind those off real quick, and then we will move on from this, making these brackets. Yay! Alright, so this is not a required thing to do, but I am just going to, since the bolts go all the way through the floor, I'm just going to put a dab of black silicone on them, just so we know that they aren't going to leak. And when I pulled mine up, I noticed that there was a little bit of water on them anyways, so. So now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get in your truck and test fit these pieces that you have just fabricated and make sure that I tested them on the seat a second ago just to see, and then now I'm going to put them in the truck first. I don't know if that's the right way to do it, but that's the way I'm doing it. And then what you're going to want to do for the back piece is there is this plate that goes on right there. and then it looks like it has 3 screws holding it on. 1, 2, and 3, and they're Phillips. And you're just going to want to remove that, and then this piece right here that we mentioned earlier about the that we got at a wrecking yard for 40 bucks is going to go on there, and most of the holes are already there, it looks like, except for these 2 guide holes, because there's all of the push clip holes are there already, except for the 2 guide holes. And so what we're going to do, so here's how we're going to figure out where to put these holes in the cab of the truck. So this one is 3 3/8, and this one is 4. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to move into the truck. Okay, so we know these holes right here for those push pins are already in the truck, so we lucked out on that. It might be different on your truck, but this is just my situation. So now we know we need to go 3 3/8 from the bottom hole. Okay, so you would want to measure it like this, and then mark it with a Sharpie or whatever you have. And then you would want to measure 4 from the bottom. Sorry, out of frame. You would want to measure 4 from the top. And as you can see, I already have marked it there where I want the hole. And then that is how you are going to figure out where to put your hole. Okay, after you get the where you want it marked at, you want to get a punch and a hammer, and you want to dent it so you don't have to drill the pilot hole, and then you want to get a drill and a drill bit. Don't know what size you're going to need, it may differ. And then you want to drill the holes right there, and okay, now I have the 2 holes drilled, and now I'm ready to put this on. So I have to use both my hands, so sorry, no video on this. Okay, so this is what it should look like after you drill the holes out and stick it all together. It should look like this, and if it doesn't, you have a real problem, or you might like it better like that. I don't know. Anyways, now we're moving on to, I forgot to say anything about this earlier, we have to lift the back of the seat up too, just because of the way it's designed. So we had an old engine stand that was the exact right lift, so we just cut it up into like 3 or 4 sections, I think. I'm not sure on that. Someone else is doing that part. And we are going to use double-sided tape to stick it to the carpet. Now it's time to put the seat back in, and I got my 4 nuts and my 4 bolts. Oh, you're out of frame again. And some locking washers. Okay, so here's the seat after it's all finished. And here are those brackets I made. I didn't end up painting them. I might paint them later on, but sort of ran out of time. And here it is after it's all completed and everything, and it actually came out pretty nice. And you know, the seat belts you didn't really have to do anything with. You know, an adult can still sit there, but all the seat belts still reach for them. So, and it still folds up like this, you know. And as you can see, there's those spacers we had to put on the back. And so, yep, that's how it works.